Hi FlossTube, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is my channel, Lady Robins. If you are new here, welcome. I'm happy that you've stopped in and are giving my channel a view and a chance. And if you're a returning friend and subscriber, welcome back. I'm super happy to have you here with me. Today is a beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest. It's sunshiny. I think our highs are supposed to be something like 65, which, yay! If you've been here, you know I'm a sunshine girl. I love the sun. It energizes me. It revs my engine. So 65 and sunny, yes. Yes, please. Let's have more of that. If you're new, I have been cross-stitching since the 1990s. I learned how to stitch when I was in a telephone call center working for an airline, and I've been stitching on and off ever since. This channel is about cross-stitch. It's only about cross-stitch and books. We will talk about books today. It's my favorite hobby. So welcome. Oh my gosh, I've got the squirrel parade on the fence right outside my window, which is fun. So I don't remember what number FlossTube this is, but it doesn't matter. It's whatever number it is, and I'll put it in the show notes. Okay, so let's talk about my favorite hobby. Let's talk about the cross-stitching. I have stitched on four WIPs since last we got together, so I'm going to show you those. And I have FFO'd, fully finished object. I've FFO'd 2 pieces. So I'm really, really happy to share that with you. So sit back, grab your beverage. I've got mine. I love these old Starbucks "You Are Here" mugs. They don't make them anymore. And this one is from New Orleans, which I visited back in the day when I was working for the airline. So I haven't been there since, and my husband and I were talking that it would be really fun to go to New Orleans and take one of those paddle wheel tours up the Mississippi. So that's on my bucket list, you guys. I've got to go get on a paddle wheeler on the Mississippi. So anyway, brewed coffee this morning. Let's have a drink. Good stuff. Okay, so let's start with my fully finished objects. I did 2 of them, which is part of the reason why I only was able to touch 4 WIPs since last we got together, because it just takes me days. I am not Helen D. Hi Helen, if you're watching. It takes me forever. It just takes me forever. The first one is Fox and Butterflies. I did finish it, you guys. Look, I made it into a flat fold. And thank you to all of you that commented on my last video where I was auditioning fabrics for my flat fold. You were right. The green is perfect. The problem with the green was, if you can see in the middle here, I didn't have enough to cover all of the boards. So I covered the 2 ones you're going to see the most, and then I just went for a little complimentary brown fabric on the interior. This was a process, and I measured my piece. I knew I wanted like a 1/2 inch all the way around my stitched piece, kind of as my border. And so I cut my board to mount my stitched piece on. And this is, by the way, is from Max Pigeon of Pigeon Coop Designs. It's in his book, I think it's Stitching in the Forest, Cross Stitching in the Forest. You know the one I mean, but it's in there. So anyway, I cut that out, and then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna give myself a 1-inch surround on my board. And I thought that's gonna look great. And in fact, do I have it in here? There's one other piece years ago, a Halloween stitch that I made 1-inch borders, but the fabric was really spectacular. It had iridescent cobwebs on it, and, you know, and a little spider. It it looked perfect with the 1 inch. I cut all 4 of these mat boards, giving myself a 1 inch reveal. And I started assembling it, and I'm like, this thing is massive. So in the end, I recut these 4 boards, and I only gave myself a 1/2 inch reveal. And this looks right to me. So, you know, 1/2 inch to around my stitched piece, and then a 1/2 inch reveal on the boards. So what I did, I gave myself a little bit of a break. I used stitchery tape to tape the fabric onto the mat board. And it's, you know, it's an acid-free mat board. I get it off of Amazon. It's nothing special, but it, you know, it is acid-free. So I used stitchery tape. I taped all of the fabric to the mat boards, but then when it came time to sandwich them together, I did use Aleene's tacky glue, you know, to glue this sandwich together and that sandwich together, and then of course to put my piece, mount my piece on the top. So that's what I did. I didn't do, you know, anything fancy. Once I got the Aleene's in there, I just squished it with, you know, 3 super big books that I have here in the craft room, and there you go. That's my finish. And then of course I've got just a little ribbon here, which you know, holds it at, you know, it'll hold it open so it won't, you know, close up when I display it. So anyway, there's my first FFO, and like I said, it took me a long time, especially since I had to recut the mat boards down, which doesn't sound like, oh, you know, gee, Robin, how long does that take? Well, first, I have to decide I've made a mistake, and then I have to leave the craft room for at least 4 hours while I think about whether or not I've made a mistake. Then I decide I have. Then I come in, I cut 1 board down, think about it, leave the craft room for 4 hours, go get coffee, then come back. You can see my process. I have to think about it step after step. I don't just go hog wild. I have to slowly creep into each step until I feel confident that I'm doing the right thing. So anyway, there's my first FFO. The second thing that I FFO'd, I was also going to make this into a tile, or a flat fold. I decided to do a tile because I did not have cutting 5 more mat pieces. I just didn't have it. So what I did was I took a lesson from the Curious Crafters and I made a tile finish. So what I have finished is this. It's by Hands On Design, and is that right? Yeah, Hands On Design, and it's called More Chocolate Bunnies, which this just cracks me up. I love this piece. I stitched it in the Called For Sulkies, and I don't remember what the fabric was, but it was a 32 count, you know, something. And then on the back, I just put you know, basically kids craft felt, and this felt has got sticky on the back. I hate to tell you, I got it at Joann's years ago. It's been riding around in the craft room forever. And I just thought, oh my gosh, you know, even giving myself, you know, the 1/2 inch around my stitched piece, and then if I went and did a 1/2 inch, you know, mounting for the flat fold, like this thing is going to be kind of big. So in the end, I just went with the basic tile finish. And so I think it worked out great. So, you know, Curious Crafters, thank you for the inspiration to do a tile finish. I think it turned out great. So there it is, FFO number 2. All right, so besides all the goofing around of FFO and what did I stitch on? Well, I've got, like I said, 4 things to show you. And I finally went back to the Little Red Schoolhouse pin keep. I haven't stitched on this, I don't think at all, in 2025. So I started working on that, and here's where I am. I have like 2 more little ups and downs to get all the way across, and it's turning out great. I'm doing this on 36 count, what is this, Lakeside linen, vintage meadow rue. I'm doing it 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads, and I am using, it's called Dracula, so it's a variegated floss. I don't know if that'll if the variegation shows. I think it shows a little bit. And this is by, is it Color and Cotton? Let me see, hold on, let me pull the tag. Yeah, Color and Cotton Dracula. My camera will focus on that for you guys. Okay, so that's what I'm stitching it on. And it's just whipping along. I am having a really good time stitching on this. Also, I'm auditioning pieces to take with me when I leave tomorrow. I'm going to Europe with a good friend. Her name is Kay. I know she doesn't watch my FlossTubes, but that's okay. Kay and I are going to we're going to Europe. We're going to go to Brussels and then the Netherlands. We're going to be gone for 10 days, and we're going to go see those gorgeous, gorgeous tulips. We're going to be down in The Hague for a bit. We're going to go see the Royal Delft Museum and Factory. We've got a little tour. We're going to get on a couple of canal boats when we're there. So I'm trying to figure out what to take with me for stitching, and this is one of the pieces I'm thinking about. The only drawback or hesitation, I guess is a better word, on bringing this is it's on 36 count. I am not bringing a lamp. I'm not carrying lighting. So I'm going to have to rely on the lighting that's in the hotels when, we crash in the evening. So I'm thinking about it. This is on my maybe take to Europe trip stitch. The other thing that I'm auditioning to take with me is a new start. I did give myself a new start. And so what I have started is this. It's Avlia's folk art embroidery, her Mykonos Meadows. And so this was a kit. It only has 4 colors of DMC, and it's on a 25 count, and it's a really satisfying stitch. I really like it. So that's my other possibility to take for stitching, because I don't want to bring tons of stuff, and I might take Mykonos Meadows and the little Schoolhouse Pin Keep. I might take both of them because they're tiny. You guys, they're tiny. It's a little teeny tiny bag. I can get both in there, and then I'm just gonna of course take my magnifying glass that I wear over my eyes and a pair of readers, and this doesn't take up much room in luggage, right? These 2 pieces could go with me over to Europe, right? Don't you think? That's where I'm at right now. I'm thinking of taking those. So anyway, that's 2 of my 4 WIPs that I worked on. Well, I guess one's technically a new start. All right, so the other 2 things that I worked on, these are big ones. You see them almost every FlossTube. I did get some really good stitching in on Harbor Haven. So you've seen this over and over and over again, but what I got done on Harbor Haven is I got the sun finished off. Can you see that? And then let's see if I can, someday I might make myself one of those little display boards, because this one's hard to hold up. Then I put in the boat. I put in all this water, and then there's a girl that's sitting here knitting, and so I got the hair from the girl, and then this white stuff right here is a sheep that's watching her. So I got all that put in, And then of course, you know, all this water. So I actually did get quite a bit done on Harbor Haven, and I'm happy with my progress on that. So once that chart is finished, that means I will have completed half of Harbor Haven. I still have six more charts to go. Okay, so that's Harbor Haven. And then the last WIP that I worked on is Hyperborea, which we all love. All right, so for Hyperborea, I started working on the, I'm calling it a bobcat. I got the bobcat started. So here's Mr. Bobcat. So I got all of that, and then these weren't, I think they were started, but I don't think they were finished last time. And then I'll just show you, you know, so the middle panel is completely done, and so I'm working over here. So again, Harbor Haven, Hyperborea is just, you know, cranking along. I'm really happy with how that looks. And this also is a kit by Owl Forest Embroidery. I think I tell you that every time. And so this is the Owl Forest floss and their fabric, and you know, it feels really, really good to stitch on this. I love this. This is really fun. So that, that is it. That's all my stitching. But, you know, I had FFOing, which took, you know, a couple of days away from my stitching. And then there have been just a couple of evenings where by the time I usually sit down and do my stitching in the evening, I was just tired. I'd done a lot of stuff during the day, and so I only had enough bandwidth to sit on my rump and watch TV. Although, let me tell you, my husband and I on Netflix, we just finished the Netflix series The Residence. Oh my gosh, we were thoroughly entertained and absolutely loved it. If you need a fun, you know, 8-part series, I would highly recommend The Resident. It's kind of a murder mystery set in, you know, the White House, and oh my gosh, so much fun. Excuse me. So we had a really, really good time watching that. Okay, so what have I been reading? I thought I would add some books in. I'm reaching for them since I had very little stitching. So since I talked to you last, I did finish two books. And this one is called A Sea Dog's Tale: The True Story of a Small Dog on a Big Ocean. And this is by Peter, I think you pronounce it Muhlenberg. I think this is out of print. You're going to have to find it, you know, through a used bookstore, but this was absolutely worth the read. Each little chapter is a complete story. And so this has actually taken me 6 or 7 months to finish. Not because I hated it. It's just that each little, like I said, each chapter is a complete story about this this dog. His name is Santos, and you know, his family that he sailed, you know, all over the place. He sailed basically around the world with his people, and Santos is a force to be reckoned with. He was so fun. So even if you don't like sailing, if sailing is not your jam, if you're an animal lover, you're gonna want to learn about Santos and all the, you know, all his escapades. So anyway, I finished that. Highly recommend. I also finished my very first Brandon Sanderson, and this is Tress of the Emerald Sea. So I finished this. This is fantasy. It's kind of, it's a little of a, you know, an adventure. I know that last time I talked about this, I kept saying Tess. It's not Tess, it's Tress, Tress, of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Apparently, I'm going to talk about books where the ocean and boats are part of the main character. Very much so in this, Brandon Sanderson is a master world builder. And so if you like fantasy at all, highly recommend. Okay, so read that. Now, what am I currently reading? I am reading The Body in the Bookshop by Ellie Alexander. She's one of my favorite cozy mystery authors. So this is the first in her series, and the crazy part is I have the other 3 books in that series. Dust, pollen, who knows. Anyway, I'm finally getting around to reading this. I'm hooked. Hooked, line, and sinker, right? So if you need a good cozy mystery, anything by Ellie Alexander is worth reading, but I'm thoroughly enjoying The Body in the bookstore. Yeah. Bookstore, books, how can you not? Okay, probably a little more of a controversial read. I decided that I just need to learn stuff, right? I mean, that's what readers do. We have to learn about our world. We have to learn about things that have come in the past, things that are happening now. And so don't freak out, you guys, but I am reading On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. And yeah, I am engaged. It is opening my eyes. It is helping me look outside my own point of view to a point of view of others. So, like I said, this is a little bit of a political, book recommendation, but again, highly recommend. If it's not very long, it's not very long. Anyway, I'm reading that. Now, like I mentioned, I am going to Europe. I'm going to go see those fabulous tulips. What am I going to read on the airplane? Well, I should be taking my Ellie Alexander, but I don't want it to get rumpled in my suitcase because I'm a complete dork. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked up Olivetti. And this is a book that I have read a number of reviews on. It gets all sorts of 4 and 5-star reviews. So I am picking this up. From what I remember, it's basically a story told from the viewpoint of the typewriter. So I'm gonna read this. Since I don't know this author, Allie Millington, it's not gonna crush my soul if it gets dinged in my luggage. So this is my travel book. Okay, so you guys, that's it. Like I said, I am taking off on vacation. I am getting on the flight tomorrow in the afternoon. I am leaving my husband and my son here to take care of the houseplants and the bunnies in our backyard. And I will be home in 10 days. So I've got 10 days of goofing around over in Europe. So I'm very excited. I will miss all of you. I hope you have, lots of good stitching ahead of you. I think I'm going to have pretty much no stitching ahead of me except for what I can do on the airplane, and I am a-okay with that. So until I see you next time, you guys have a fantastic couple of weeks. I will talk to you when I return. I will probably most definitely have a few pictures of tulips to share with you. So have a great couple of weeks, and I will catch you when I get home. Okay, bye friends.